Hello and welcome to the second tutorial in the Interfacing with Sandbox tutorial series. This time we're going to go over creating a custom texture slot. This is quite more involved than the previous one, so we're going to be building off of basically what we learned in the previous one. So if at any point you're confused, take a look at the previous tutorial or the previous set of tutorials in the intro to CryFX, and you should be able to understand what we're doing. I will, of course, explain along the way as I go a little bit, but I won't go into too much detail. So what we need open is the ilum.cfx file here, which is in the shaders, hardware scripts, CryFX folder. In here, let me show you where that is, just so this isn't too confusing. So it's the base engine folder, engine shaders, hardware scripts, CryFX. Okay, so we're going to go here past the custom forward shading attributes function, or struct rather, and we are going to add our own section. Now, if you'll recall, we added a feature last time called colorize. So we're going to say if, I got to find the button, colorize, oops, and then we're going to add our end if pragma. So these here are pragmas. The hashtags are pragmas. These are precompiler messages that control our compilation, the flow of our compilation, or rather what compiles and what doesn't. So I'm just going to tab in, which is supposed to be common practice, but it's a little inconsistent in CryFX. So, but I always do it to keep myself clean. So we're going to copy and paste one of the sections here. I'm just going to copy this one. There we go. So what we're doing here is we're saying a texture 2D by this name. In our case, we're just going to call this, let's just call it color 2. And we're just going to say, sure, register T9 is fine. The register here, these texture slots, this is defined in another file. That's going to be kind of the next part I go over, so we're just going to hold off on that. So we're going to name this, I don't actually need this for this shader effect, but just because I'm going to try and stay consistent, we'll name this colorize text. And then we'll just say diffuse map for colorize. And we'll keep the slot TM custom. This here, I will have to run you through what this is, because this is the actual texture slot. So we're going to go to our sampler defs. And so TM custom, this format here where it has some sort of two capital letters and then an underscore and then a name. These are defined in engine code. These are engine related variables. So we're going to go over to FX sampler definitions, and because I really don't like looking at the default colors, I'm just going to put it on C++. So here you can see the texture registers. I might as well go through this now since I'm here. There's only 13 allowable texture registers in default CryEngine. So we'll be working within that limitation. T9, as you can see, is the custom text slot, which is this slot here in the material editor. So the name here, which is defined in the actual code, the engine code itself, is TM custom. So you need to make sure that your slot name is consistent with the variable here in the ilum.cfx file where we are defining this. So this needs to match the register. Register T9 is the TM custom. We name it color 2, so I'm good with this. This actually is pretty much all we need to do here. So I'm just going to save this. Okay. And then we are going to restart the editor. I'm just going to uncheck and check this real quick. Okay, good. Still working fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and save. I don't know why, but I guess it's just a habit. And we're going to restart the engine. just going to put this to the side. Texture slots are a bit of a unique beast, where sometimes you actually get it to rename and sometimes you don't. There are some tips and tricks for getting that to work. For the length of this tutorial, I won't be going into specifics unless I have to. So yeah, as you can see, our custom name isn't showing up yet. So I'm going to check and see if we have any other problems in our code. Sometimes you need to actually define a use for your texture, otherwise it won't show up. It doesn't get triggered, so to speak. So I'm just going to try first copying. I'm going to basically take that texture slot. I'm going to use it in the custom ZPass in the diffuse section. Let's see, output albedo and reflectance in custom ZPass. We got to look for where the albedo is defined. So see here, see albedo. So above this, I'm going to create another pragma. If colorize, and we're going to go ahead and add our not else, sorry, end if to end that. And I'm going to say C albedo is equal to color 2. I'm going to save this. Okay. I'm going to clear this so I can see what's going on. Let's go to material editor legacy. We'll check and uncheck. Alright, still nothing. We're going to reload the shaders. We'll type in shader. Here it is, R reload shaders. Okay, so we're getting thrown an error here. Alright, at least we know that this is compiling our effect. So, oh yeah, texture 2D to float 4 to half 3. Yes, well, we're going to have to take care of that because I forgot to use my custom function here to get this texture. So we got to actually load color 2 in a function which is get custom. Here, let's get past that. Get custom text. I believe that's what it is. Here it is. Oh, it's capital G. See, got to really watch that. Okay. So we're going to get custom text in the first, and then we're going to bring in our base tc .xy for the second variable in this function, which is the base texture coordinates. Oops, this needs to go here, and the name of our texture needs to go here. There we go. Alright, just do a little cleanup here. So C albedo is equal to get custom text color 2 base TC. The error was can't implicitly convert from texture 2D to half 3, and that's because this here is a texture 2D, which cannot be used directly in your shader. It needs to be run through a function that converts that to a usable variable. In the case of this, a half 3. Okay, so we're going to save this, and we're going to go ahead and reload shaders. Alright, it says undeclared identifier base TC. Oh, I forgot to add the in.basetc. I'm very forgetful right now. In.basetc. Right? Okay. This appears to be working. So let me go ahead and clear the stack here, and we will load up our shader. So material editor. As you can see, colorize is working. And now the name of the texture slot is changing. So yes, in this case, you just need to be calling that texture slot, and the texture slot will rename when you call the function to retrieve the texture. As we go forward, I will not be removing mistakes like this. I think it's an important learning process, so you can see how I break down the solution, and that will teach you how to figure out things on your own. So that's adding a custom texture slot into the material editor. Next step is we're going to be adding a parameter to adjust this feature that we just created.